Hello, this is Stephen Childs, The Way of Fairness, and I'm still unable to stop people from doing me wrong. And I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep doing everything I can to stop everyone from being unfair to me. Now, you wouldn't think that that's a really big deal, but it is. It's like the most difficult thing there is to do is to get all the people in the world to not do you wrong. So that's why I made the website, is because it's got the idea that if we can get everyone to agree, we're not going to do other people wrong anymore. And if we can get the governments and the religions to agree to not do other people wrong. So like the Old Testament curses against people that won't surrender to Yahweh. There's a whole bunch of curses in the Old Testament. You're supposed to surrender to Yahweh or else you're in big trouble. That's got to go. It's not fair. The Quran, it's not fair, similar reasons. The Quran is based on, there's two realms. The realm of surrender to Allah, and that's the Quran. The holy book is not, there's no mistakes. Everything that's in there is true, but according to the book, but it's not. It's far from true, just like the Old Testament is far from true. So if you don't surrender to Allah, then there's a war against you. You're in the realm of war. The way to not be in the war is to surrender to Allah. And then the real world, they surrender to Allah, and then they're supposed to go out and do terrorism, jihad. It's a stage. There's like the first step in Islam, when they're an extreme minority, they're just love everybody. They don't complain about anything, kind of thing. And then they get a little more power, more people join them from all the love bombing. Then they start a little bit of terrorism. And then when they get even more power, it's like doomsday if you don't surrender. So where they have Sharia law, there's no choice. You have to surrender to Sharia law, and you're ruled by Sharia law. And that's the purpose of the Quran, is to make everywhere ruled by Sharia law. And they're supposed to lie to their enemies, so you can't trust them to be telling you the truth. It's just a routine that they've learned on how to argue their point, and they just go back to this routine. It's like a salesman learns the sales pitch, and that's all they'll say. You try to get them to talk about anything else, and they won't. They won't vary from their script. That's how Christianity is too. So they have it's faith-based, and so they have faith. They don't have to have any evidence, because they have faith that their book is true, and that their God is real, and that they're going to go to heaven. And in the case of Islam, there's like 72 virgins for certain people. Mormonism, the men can have many wives in heaven. It's been called the Islam of Christianity. I grew up in the LDS religion. And I remember years ago people telling me I should read the Quran, and people that were good Mormons, they thought the Quran was a good book too, for that reason. And I quit believing it when I was 13. And where I'm at now with this, okay, get this. Faith-based atheism. So if they can have faith-based beliefs, so can atheists. You know, it's like tit for tat, turnaround's fair play. So their God doesn't create heaven and punish atheists in heaven. We have faith that their God does not exist. They have faith that it does exist. We have faith that it doesn't exist. We don't have evidence that it doesn't exist. You can't prove a negative. Like the story about this silver tea kettle that orbits the sun, and you can't prove that it's not there. We don't have the way to prove that it's not there at this point. So atheists don't typically will say, we don't say there's no God, we just don't have a belief that there is one. So faith-based atheism makes the claim rudely and boldly, just like the rude Mormon, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, that they can be very rude too. You know, it's like you're saying that I have to believe this belief or else I'm going to be punished in hell if I don't surrender to this God of yours, that I don't have a belief even exists. Well, faith-based atheism says that God doesn't exist. Your God's not big enough. Even if it does exist in some fashion, it's not big enough to rule all of us. So we serve the all-powerful all. There's only one. And our intention is to unify the entire planet under surrender to the all-powerful all, or acceptance that it exists. And we're requiring everybody to be fair to everyone. Or we can punish you in various ways, like the law of the land locks people up in solitary confinement as like the worst punishment that is legal in the government. And so we can just cut you off from all joy and happiness and love. We won't give you any. You'll be cut off if you don't surrender. To being fair to everyone. That's all we're asking. That's all we're asking of the governments and the religions and all the people, is to be fair to everyone. Well, I've tried, and I'm not humanly capable of being fair to everyone. I've got this, Alan Watts called it the irreducible rascality that we have as humans. We're all a rascal to some degree, and we can't get rid of it. This was his teaching that he was telling people. So I think it's true. There's something in my mind that will, out of the blue, it starts thinking stuff on its own that I don't want to repeat what it even thinks. So if I judge people, I'm like I'm trying to make myself better than them in the way I'm thinking. And it's not true. We're all the same. We count the same. So I have to surrender to the all-powerful all, and I ask for victory over my own ego that's doing this judging. And I've learned there's some tactics you can use, that you can develop a habit. If you find yourself judging someone, realize that you did it, and then dodge the headaches, because if you start judging somebody these days, there's going to be headaches on the way, because we're sick of it as a group of people. So this is starting to work. And because we're all connected somehow, telepathically or something. So it's what I do is I protect everybody. You know, it's like love one another, protect one another. That makes more sense. That's definable. I don't know what love one another even means. What are you talking about? And it's complicated. That gets real complicated, trying to figure out what you're talking about. It's like they think I'm gay because I don't want sex. I'm fasting from alcohol and cigarettes and sex. I don't want any sexual feelings. And they think the guy's got to be gay because he's not. And look at how beautiful that girl was, and he was not even looking at her. Well, I'm choosing not to look at her. I don't want sexual feelings. I'm fasting from that. So that's my choice. And it's not fair that they judge me for that. They say I must be gay. I don't have anything against gay people. Sexuality's fine. Whatever it is, as long as it's fair and mutual consent. It has to be mutual consent or it's not fair to someone. So whatever humans do is fine. It's taken me my whole life to get to this point where it's all good. I don't care what they did in the past. I don't care. What I care about is stop doing people wrong now. Okay, now we know better. We know we have to surrender to the all-powerful, whatever it is, and ask it for help with our human unfairness that won't go away. Ask for help with this issue that we're judgmental. We're competitive. It's in our genes that we're supposed to think we're better than the other guy, the other girl. And so I just protect everyone. I protect on the planet, and I've had issues with somebody who didn't clean something up. So I'm protecting that. That's there for a reason. That the dog poop on the side of the road or whatever it might be, I'm protecting that. Instead of thinking wrong about it, I'm protecting that. It's supposed to be there for some reason. And the all-powerful, whatever it is, will use that the way that it's supposed to be used. So I'm not in judgment. I don't ruin my day over dumb stuff. When I'm surrendered to the all-powerful, and I'm asking for victory over my own wrongness and over other people's wrongness. So it really works. It took me a lot of pain and misery to realize that this is the best way for me to be, because I can't stop my ego problem. I've tried and tried. I can't control my thoughts. In fact, I can't meditate properly unless I've surrendered. And then I'm capable, by realizing I'm not capable, then the mind stops from making thoughts. That's wonderful. When you're being troubled by thoughts and you can get the mind to stop thinking. And it's like you have to have this idea that there's something that cares about us that's bigger than we are. This is a big universe. There's room for a whole bunch of people that are protecting us out there. Like we're protecting them. They appreciate that. If you'll protect them, you'll find out. They'll protect you. They're lots bigger than us. People are seeing UFOs all over the place. I'm not that interested in seeing a physicality, like a UFO that's metal or whatever. The bodies of the aliens, what they look like. I'm not that interested in that because they're in my head. They're in all of our heads. Just like humans are telepathic to some degree. We evolved in this universe. I think this is true. And they were already so advanced. They're like 1 billion years more advanced than us. That they become non-local. They're everywhere at once throughout the whole universe. So we evolved from the one single cell in the ocean. The brain evolved, consciousness happens. Oh, I am here. I'm thinking about how there's me and there's not me and this kind of thing. I'm aware that I'm this. I'm aware that there's that. And then we have spiritual teachers telling you that this is that. It's one. There's one all. So that's the beginning of awakened mind, where you're not identified with this body, this mind. Your identity is the all. That's what I am, is the all. I'm all it is me. And it's everyone else. So that's like a very joyous thought. If you think of that in a certain way, it's like incredible to experience that. So you can begin to trust this all. I just was reading the Gospel of Thomas again because I benefited from that years ago. It's a liberating document rather than confined, you have to surrender to God. It's not like that. And it says in there that Jesus is the all. He's the light of all, the all, and he is the all. So that's metaphorical. So it says in there that when you make the inside and the outside one, that's the kingdom. They wouldn't let that be in the Bible because the Roman Empire wanted to rule the Jewish Empire, and they used Christianity to do it. And we're still in a fight about it. Constantine, he had a dream he was going to rule the world with the Christian cross. And so they decided you can't have the Gospel of Thomas in the Bible. It says if you understand it, you won't taste death. Well, see, faith-based atheists, we don't think we're going to die either. We think we are going to exist. The extraterrestrials are going to twinkle, twinkle little star, whatever they do, and we don't die. And we still exist. So people that are being unfair and thinking that is all they got to do is get away with it and they're going to be dead and they're not going to exist. Wrong. We're going to keep them in our hell until they decide they better start being fair to everyone. And it's not God that makes the hell, because there's not one. We're faith-based atheists, and we're saying there is not a God. We evolved from no brain whatsoever, and the universe happened, the Big Bang happened from no brains involved in it. It happened just because it can. So we can figure out how it happened, and we're doing that with our telescopes and with our mathematical equations and with our understanding of the physical reality. We've learned a lot. I mean, we've learned that instead of the earth being the center, the sun going around it, and this is all there's like a shell over the earth, and beyond that was heaven, you know? And now we're not only just going around the sun, we realized all those stars out there are suns. And then we realized that there's galaxies. We're in this huge galaxy, and we thought that's all there was this one Milky Way, because we could see the signs of it from the dark night sky. And then we start learning how to measure frequencies of light by color shift, and we realized we're in a universe of maybe unlimited galaxies. You know, we're talking trillions of galaxies. There's like 200 billion stars in our Milky Way. So we're not in this small planet. We are huge. That is what we are. Is all of that is what is everything. And we know that there's a non-local, meaning that everywhere is everywhere else at once. There's not time involved in getting there. The quantum entanglement. So we know there's that component of this reality that we're in. So it's like one point can become any size. It doesn't matter how big it is or how long it takes. So we're starting to understand how this happened, how it happened. Why did it happen? There's probably not a why. There's a how. We can understand how it is. There may not be a why. Why is it? It's like there's no answer to that question, maybe. It's like people ask, why are you doing that? And the answer is, because I can. You know, it can do this. There isn't anything to stop this from happening, you from happening. You happened. And there wasn't anything to stop you from happening. So anyway, when you are seeking for guidance, you've surrendered, you've gave yourself completely to the all-powerful because you gave up on trying to make yourself be a certain way, and you can't win without giving yourself to the all-powerful. You'll find that's true. And maybe you can. Well, whatever. I can't. I've given myself to the all-powerful for guidance, protection. So it arranges my life. And, you know, people that are in religions tell us that you pray for things and God answers prayers. Well, I just ask for it to arrange my life however it wants, and incredible things start happening. I'm not kidding you. It's like one thing after another. You realize, oh, that was part of the creation, that guy was there because of what we talked about. And it's like you're available to see that this is provided. All of this is provided, and you're awake and you're aware that that's the case. And so you realize that what happened 20 minutes ago was very significant. And you would have never realized it if you didn't know what to look for. if you didn't know that it was being provided by the intelligence of our minds. So we're learning how to bend spoons by connecting, I'm the spoon, like on Matrix. So people can do stuff, metaphysical stuff. People can create fires. In India, I've seen people do that, and there's a lot of hoax, a lot of fraud going on with this stuff. But then you hear accounts of people having a dream and they know where the lost book is, and it's there. I have dreams like that. So I haven't bent spoons yet, but I'm like to the place where things are falling off the table from a ghost or something. And I ask for my fear to be taken away. And I have to ask for protection so that there's nothing to be afraid of. And so I'm learning that there's a lot more going on in our world than I ever thought. And you won't find it unless you look. You have to seek for it to find it. So anyway, we're faith-based atheists, and we rule heaven and hell. So be nice to us. Be fair. We have to be fair to you too, see? Because it's like cause and effect. If I do someone wrong, there's a consequence. Automatic. And that's what it's all about. If we stop doing each other wrong, we're going to have paradise on planet Earth instead of like a hell we've never, misery, unbelievable, tragic. And we're at this place where we got to make this choice. It's like now or never. Stop being unfair to everyone. It's time. Thank you.